Hello once again, Internet. Welcome back to the Deplorable Batcave podcast. This is your host, Spartacus, and it is the 12th of August, 2017 at the time of this recording. Unfortunately, we had a whole shit ton of topics we could have talked about. I had a list of 12 that I came up with. But events that kicked off in the last few hours have kind of blindsided all of that. So today, primary topic is Charlottesville. Ladies and gentlemen,
who else was blindsided? A certain Antifa protester.
Oh, Dodge, failing to live up to the name since 2017.
Yeah. Or how we learned to love the Dodge and charge.
So, with obvious primary topic being obvious, I yield the floor to the members of the Batcave. But first, introductions. On my left, we have Steph.
Me more now.
Blippity Blob.
Hello.
See you all.
Howdy, everyone.
Z.
You just got to make an impact on those protests.
Oh.
Oh.
A man is dead.
And silently watching us is Twisted, who is just going to stare at us with that creepy blank face. So, gentlemen, Charlottesville. Holy crap, what a shitstorm.
Yeah, information is sparse to say the least. The police have someone arrested. They are treating it as vehicular homicide. Which,
context first, if you're going to go into that bit first.
Okay. Earlier today, several hours ago, there was a car that plowed through two other cars and injured 16 and killed one thus far. Of members of an Antifa or BLM protest, basically a left-wing protest group. Currently, the driver is unknown. The police have arrested him, but have not released his identity.
And 4chan is on a case.
4chan is trying to get information, but information is sparse at best. They have found the name of the owner, but they haven't dug into that individual. They kind of lost some time looking into this Joel guy who turned out to just have a very similar-looking car and happened to live in a state where it was registered. So that was with the same last name. So a little bit off, but hey. It's already been moved on. People have forgotten about it. That's how poll works.
Presumably they are going to be working around the clock to identify the individual.
No, they have him arrested. They just haven't released the name.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. They're claiming they're a suspect, but they're going to need to work for a little bit.
I mean, do we know exactly how many people have been injured and killed?
One killed, I believe last tally is 16 injured. We could see, more deaths, but for now, let's hope there's no more deaths.
You're already incorrect. There are, I think, now 3 deaths.
No.
Two from a random crashed helicopter.
Okay, let's get the helicopter thing out of the way. The helicopter is a red herring. It has nothing to do with this crash, to our knowledge, to the initial car incident. From what I can tell, it seems like it was human error, somebody being an idiot with a laser pointer, or bad maintenance. We don't know what happened with that. Let's not count it until we know more about it.
I say we count it so we can have a meme war.
No. But in the case of Charlottesville itself, apparently the initial protest was a legal protest. They had permits.
Mm-hmm. Which were pulled after Antifa showed up.
Oh, they were pulled retroactively?
Yeah. The state declared a state of emergency, shut down the protests, and sent in the National Guard against the Unite the Right group.
Well, unfortunately, the Unite the Right group had, let's face it, and I hate to use the term, the wrong elements in there.
Yeah.
They are not PR friendly.
Most certainly not. I mean, God knows, everyone knows that I've been pretty much tap dancing on the alt-right's speeches and styles, but I'm not full-blown alt-right.
The term for you would be alt-light, I believe.
It was a little 1480 to be,
Yeah.
would be my description.
But
It
I will
definitely
say
hit
this.
that.
last night they were walking around with lit torches and nothing was set on fire. I think there was some skirmishes between some of the early Antifa guys that got there, but it was broken up pretty quickly.
Yeah, there were skirmishes.
So it was generally peaceful, other than a couple of Antifa guys causing trouble.
Although, to be fair, a bunch of guys walking around carrying torches, chanting blood and soil.
Yeah.
It's kind of unnerving. I don't care what color your skin is. If I see a group of people carrying torches and saying blood and soil, I'm like, holy shit, is this a Lovecraftian cult come to life?
Yeah, but the thing is, the current
Village of the Damned.
I think I've already said the current working theory is terrible accident, false flag, or wrong target are the three that I'm kind of working off of right now because there's been very little information and knowing these incidents.
Maybe we should all list what we personally think it is and why.
Yeah.
I would say it's a Bernie bro who tried to do a false flag. And why? It's because it's a Bernie bro, and Bernie bros kill people.
Actually, a slight modification of that. If it's a Bernie bro, he probably got it, like all Bernie bros, he was completely retarded and got his target wrong.
Okay, well, what's your theory? Since you started correcting me, how dare you?
Well, no, I'm just like my interpretation of your theory.
I mean, for me, until more information comes out, I mean, do we know for sure this was an intentional, or was this like
there is
some
unconfirmed information from somebody who claimed they talked to the police that the person in question they were panicked by another protest group, like banging on their car or something. They floored it and lost control. I have seen some pictures of the vehicle trying to brake before they hit the crowd, but that could be. It's hard to say. That's why I'm saying it's one of those three. That's why
that and the vehicle in question, it looks way too heavily damaged to hit a human body.
Yeah.
Like
it hit a car.
I saw the car
hit one car, then that one toppled down. Basically, it was a triple car pileup.
Yeah, like I'm gonna put 75 to even 80% odds that this is just. First of all, who damages such an? Okay, I liked the look of that car before it got wrecked. So personally, I'm like, why would you ruin your car with Antifa blood? I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe my truck I would do. My truck I don't care. I could plow through deer. It's covered
confirmed murderer.
Yeah.
We'll see. The thing is, we're assuming that they're.
Codename Sam Hyde.
Well, the thing is, that's operating on the assumption that this is a quote-unquote alt-right member trying to go after Antifa and wasn't, an insane lefty that thought they were going after the Nazis.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible too, but part of me just wants to think, like, it's a pretty nice car. I have a feeling that person just took a wrong turn and was like, oh, fuck, and just panicked. Because
that is a theory that is coming out of a verified person on Twitter who said they talked to the police.
Car with a dude who hit a deer a dude and his girlfriend was in the back seat, and they hit a deer because they just saw it and they panicked. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah. And
I'm like, well, you're already going 80, so Bambi's mom is dead. So there's no breaking for this.
Yeah.
The reason I don't believe it's an alt-right personality is because if it was, they would have already plastered his image all over the internet, the newspapers.
That's another factor is, like, the more time that goes on. I mean, it's still possible that the person they have is an alt-right dude, and maybe they're just being oddly
hold it, guys. We've got something breaking. From the Associated Press. The helicopter crash that killed two linked to white nationalist rally. They are really pushing this. The white nationalists are the problem.
In that it happened in the same town? Like, what, did Richard Spencer really bring down a helicopter?
Well, Richard Spencer once went inside a helicopter 10 years ago. There's your link.
Officials say deaths of two people had been linked. It had been linked to violent white. Yeah, the Associated Press is basically trying to paint the right wing as the problem.
Was it a news copter or something? Or were they trying to get
no,
footage?
Police copter. It was a police copter. Two on board, crashed. Yeah.
Poor guys.
Yeah, I don't know what happens. My heart goes out to their families. I just don't know what the hell happened with them. That's why I don't want to link it to anything at the moment. I mean, it was probably scrambled because of the riots and protests, but I'm thinking this was, as I said, either this one is either a shit stain with a laser, mechanical failure, or
It could
pilot
be, it could be a
error.
whole plethora of
Yeah.
different reasons.
We don't have enough information. We got to wait for the black box to come out and figure out what happened.
Okay, I have a question. If it was mechanical problems because they had to rush it out to do surveillance on the protest, how long ago were they aware that the protests were going to happen?
Months in
'Cause
advance,
if
to
it-
my knowledge. Unite the Right event has been around for a while.
Okay, so if it was the event was pre-planned months in advance, and it's sort of obvious that wherever the alt-right goes, there's protests. They should have been able to take care of any mechanical.
Well, the thing is, we
issues
don't
to get
know
the helicopter
yet.
going.
We don't know yet. That's why I don't want to talk about it too much, because it's a red herring. It's unrelated to the car crash.
But red herrings are fun.
No, red herrings lead you down a path to nothing.
Well, that's how you get the clickbait.
Anyway, so for now, I'm just going to assume that that's just the media making a story out of not a story.
Yeah.
I mean, a sad story, but not
Yeah.
the story of the actual event transpiring.
It is fake news.
No, it is not fake news. It is unknown.
Well, it's just saying link to alt-right event. That's fake news.
And the thing
They
is,
saw Baked Alaska's fidget spinner, and it just distracted them so much that they crashed.
And the thing is, because people don't trust the media, all they're doing is they're pushing more people into the arms of the alt-right. It's getting more and more palatable by the day, and it's actually really scary.
Yes.
Which is the saddest part of, I mean, the fact that, okay, let's face it, by the 90s, most of these kinds of groups were dead. They were dying.
They were gone. KKK is what, 5,000 members left?
Had.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Their numbers doubled or tripled in the last year.
Yeah, it's almost as if allowing a minority group within a society to have a pride movement and a concept of racial pride and telling the other group that they're the fault of everything leads to people going, you know what, fuck it, identity politics now.
There
Yeah,
can
I mean-
only be one.
Yeah.
It was inevitable that, like, you know, because say what you want about the way the left has conducted itself, identity politics is remarkably effective at mobilizing
Yeah.
people into a solidarity unit, and they work together despite the fact that they might not have the same interests.
Just a little bit of a joke, guys. An image just cropped up. Apparently, it was JonTron behind the wheel. It was JonTron, guys.
Jontron knew it.
Damn it.
Well, he has been missing for a while.
Yeah. But
Here
yeah,
I thought it was the Samuel White Pride Worldwide High.
I've also heard Chris Chan was behind the wheel, but that one was a
For
little
sure.
bit less
I
remarkable
believe
because how could Chris Chan afford a car like that?
Well, maybe he sold off rights to Sonic 2.
How do we know it wasn't Bernie himself? He does seem to have a penchant for sports cars.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't buy sports cars. He buys third and fourth vacation houses.
No, he gets the state to provide it for him.
Yeah. Moving on. Okay, our various theories is the most likely based on the political climate and information we do have. It's either terrible accident, definite negligence, or a false flag, or a wrong target. Which those are basically the same thing.
I mean, it's possible, considering some of the unsavory types that have shown up at this thing, that it might be somebody who at least is amicable to the rally. I don't know how, like, I don't think it's Baked Alaska's best friend, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it could.
Yeah.
I mean, considering there was a lot of people with those. Okay, backing up. It looked like a dumb little tiki torch march, and I looked at it and I'm like,
But it was peaceful, and you know what would
Yeah, I
happen?
mean-
If Antifa didn't show up, people would have said, lol, this is stupid, and moved on with their lives.
Look
But
at this
Antifa just
gay
legitimized
little.
them.
Look at this gay little luau, basically, was my first thought when I saw it. Of course, I did get a laugh out of that Emily, or whatever he or she, whatever it calls itself. Zim, Zai, Zo, Zum, whatever. Freaking out because she was one of the, like, 14 or so that were standing at the statue surrounded by these tiki torched lunatics.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, watching her stream while she just lost her fucking mind bawling. Like, oh my God, fascism is taking over. Where is everybody?
Yeah, but
Why
no one
am I
got hurt.
alone here?
They just stood around a statue. That you
Well,
wanted
her
to destroy.
fields definitely took a little bit of little bit of punch. But
let's be honest. Let's be honest here. If she would have been actually set on fire, she would have actually been happy for that because thus she would have become a martyr.
Yeah.
Could you argue that they were being a little heavy-handed or a little intimidated-ish? Yes, but there is no evidence that they had any intention to harm, that they were just this weird torchlight rally thing that they wanted to do, and at the end of the day, just let them be their little retarded selves. I'm not a fan of the idea of a white identity, but if the left keeps pushing everyone else but white people can have an identity, and white people have no culture, and they are also the reason for all problems, at some point, even I'm going to be going, you know what, I think we need a white pride movement, people. There is a line, and we're getting closer to it by the day.
But isn't it like nuclear proliferation? If you're going to have one group that
it's
able
like
to push itself, even aided by all these shadowy groups, which is naturally going to sow the seeds of division and suspicion and goodness knows what else.
It's analogous to a MAD situation where it's like, well, I mean, if the other side has nukes, we got to get nukes, or we're going to get steamrolled. So it's a smart strategy. I look at what Spencer and them have tried to build, and I'm like, as much as I have a lot of disagreements with them, I do acknowledge the tactical utility of what they're doing.
Even though a lot of their beliefs are morally reprehensible, they are pointing out various problems that are cropping up.
I just wish they didn't bring back the hatred of the Jews thing. I feel like that's like, come on, guys, do you have to die on that hill? Come on, man.
Can you really blame them?
Well, Soros does literally the living stereotype.
I'm still convinced that he's a Nazi.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's like every negative stereotype about Jews coalesced and became a sentient being, and his name was George Soros. It's weird. I don't think the Protocols of the Elders of Zion was about the Jews. It was literally a prophecy of the birth of George Soros. That was it. It was literally predicting...
Yeah.
It meant singular. It meant the Jew, the specific one who will be born in Hungary, named George Soros, or Czechoslovakia, where the fuck he came from.
How do you know he's from Hungary?
How do you know he's going to make us all hungry when he does his communist revolution around the world?
Because he hungers for more.
True fact.
George Soros is the God Emperor, and secretly he's building the Primarchs.
And the thing is, all this chaos and division will lead to is a race war. And, well, if you know anything about the stats of the race war...
Chaos, do I smell heresy?
Well, if you know anything about race wars, it's always the majority population that wins. It's never the minority population.
Cast your minds back to the end of 2016.
Yeah.
Just before Trump got elected, there was the possibility of, there's going to be martial law, there are going to be these riots everywhere, and Obama's going to have to put in emergency measures to stay in for longer. These were all real possibilities.
Yeah, they were legitimate possibilities. But there were so many eyes on it, and I'm sure that there were strategists that said, hey, you do this, there will be an armed uprising in the U.S., and the military will not follow you.
But that may have even been something they wanted. I don't know why.
I think that, realistically, media is going to spin its narrative.
Yeah.
No matter what comes out. I mean, most people are already convinced. Well, not most people. Most people who are committed Democrat voting people, they know all the facts they need to know. Yeah. Horrible Nazi demon rapist monsters, cishet white men, rallied to kill all the Jews and lynch black people, and were setting trans people on fire with their blowtorches that they definitely had. And ran
Which is somewhat difficult because if people are gender fluid, how can you set fire to water?
Exactly, but they don't.
Wait. All this is fluid. It doesn't have to be water. It could be gas.
It could be oil. Oh yeah, that's a fair point.
Well, what I'm saying is that for the committed,
he's got a point. Whale blubber.
Democrat voter, they've made up their mind. It could come out that this was literally. This was Hillary Clinton's fucking campaign manager who ran that person over. And it wouldn't matter.
They would
never acknowledge that.
Not the average Democrat voter, the crazy ones, the ones that are die-hard Democrats.
All right. Guys, I have I found another video of the car hit. There were no brakes.
Okay, so those images were just maybe some light reflecting in just the right way.
I will post the tweet in the chat for people to be able to type in and search on their own time, but from what I saw, I didn't see any brake lights light up.
Yeah, I've seen mainly pictures that people were pointing out, so I'm not entirely sure.
This is video.
As I've said, I don't have enough information, so I'm not going to include it in this. I'll check it out later. I'll believe you, Spart.
It's a bit difficult to see, Spart, to say the least.
No,
Well-
there were. I don't see brake lights.
I realize it's just
For a
like
second or two, you don't even see the car. So
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, by that time they were already there. So unless they hit the brakes to the last half second, then no, this car did not slow down.
Yeah.
False flag.
I mean, shit. Why would you wreck a perfectly nice car? Like, come on, man.
Ideology can make you do some weird things, man.
Man, maybe I value nice cars too much. Like, I'm like, oh man, I wouldn't. Maybe if it was a piece of shit car, I could understand it. Like, okay, this car is junk anyway. What do I care? But man, that is a nice car.
Z, you're a rational human being.
Yeah, that's true.
We're talking about somebody who would consider doing something like this in the first place. I think the car is the last thing they're worried about. I mean, think about it. You see that your side is losing. Every turn, they're losing more and more ground.
And at the same time, you're being told by the news networks that you are governed by a Nazi.
Yeah. How long before you basically snap and don't care?
And what if you're on drugs or taking alcohol? Yeah, it could do all sorts of things to one's rational sensibilities.
Yeah.
I guess I feel really bad for that car. I'm like, oh man, that was a nice car.
Yeah. Well, someone is dead.
You know, I wish there was it was possible to know all the people that were radicalized by all the mainstream media, and toll up their the death count. But that's not possible because you can't verify they were radicalized by the mainstream media.
No.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you can't.
But the religion of peace, on the other hand,
yeah,
we may be here for a while.
It was a Dodge Charger.
Well, I don't think there's that much that can be said about the subject. I mean, we still need to wait for more details.
Yeah,
and
when they release the name, we can dig into his past and find out exactly who he is, who he followed, what he did.
You know, I do think that there's still much that could be said about the whole another subject can be discussed if you guys are up to that, and that's the North Korea situation.
Yeah, that's pretty serious.
Spot, how do you feel about that?
Well, that was one of the topics I had.
Because according to CNN, Trump can't win a war against Kim Jong-un.
How?
What?
Okay,
No.
hold it. I'm putting on my military historian hat. I am putting on my military historian hat right now. North Korea has no reserve of fuel for their aircraft or vehicles. Basically, every bit of fuel they get in for their military is used. China.
Please forgive me, guys. I'm going to sully the chat with this article. Links to the article are your own.
China signed a sanction against North Korea, though it is paying lip service that it will stand by North Korea. It knows that if it were to side against the United States, every Chinese company that's based in the U.S., if it has any affiliation with the Chinese government as they are partial owners, all those assets are seized.
You're using logic and reason here.
Yeah.
This will not be tolerated.
Logic and reason are sadly... They're becoming a precious commodity.
They're a concept of a bygone era.
Commodity. And racist.
At this
Just
point,
science.
I don't care. At this point, I'll actually write on my own forehead that I'm a racist. I use logic.
Yeah.
Check out the article, guys. Well, at your own discretion, of course.
What? Okay, considering their opening is Kim Jong Un is not crazy, not irrational, and not stupid. What? that's what they start with.
But the beautiful part of it is it's got literally their own name slapped just before that as a preface. CNN brackets. Kim Jong Un is not crazy.
Guys, who the hell is Chelsea Handler?
A useless basic bitch.
To all the generals surrounding our idiot in chief, the longer you wait to remove him, the longer your name will appear negatively in history.
Yeah, I know. She's calling for an active military coup.
You mean something that would lead to total collapse of the United States, the military
Civil war
between loyalists to Trump and then the rebels, and basically end times where nukes start flying and we're all dead?
I mean, a nuclear
sedition
nation.
laws.
I mean, I swear to God, these people don't seem
Yeah,
to
Sedition Act of 1918.
It was overturned later on, man.
Here's the problem. You do not want a nuclear power to have a civil war. That's a bad idea.
Yeah. All it takes is one crazy to get into the silo and figure out how to launch the damn thing and target another major power.
An imminent threat. I see. So you can say whatever you want in terms of overthrowing the government. What about in terms of saying what you want that leads to active involvement?
I do have the. I got more video feed. Yeah, that dog slammed in the back of two other vehicles. I've got more video.
Yeah. It slammed back 2 vehicles. That's why there was so much damage on the vehicle.
So yeah, and he did not slow down. I assume that. I have no. I'm not going to make any assumptions, but that went right into the back of 2 more vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was no slowdown.
Okay. Well, thanks for the update. Well, let's stick to the topic.
Well, unfortunately, on this topic, I'm basically saying, Korea is fucked. Anybody that believes otherwise is retarded. Obviously, because they work at CNN.
But will we go to war with them, though?
Yeah, that's the question. Is it?
It's not going to be a war. I mean,
wow. I kind of go back to all of the establishment guys are calling out white supremacy. The second this is found out to be not white supremacy, they all have egg on their face. All of them. So
they already do it from every other instance.
You're implying they care.
Well, here's the problem, though. They're virtue signaling, and the problem is when you virtue signal and you're on the wrong side, no.
They don't care.
Never stopped them before.
It's all about the virtue signal. I mean, as it is, I have some of my favorite fucking YouTube personalities and voice actors fucking virtue signaling like fucking crazy, and it's disgusting me. I'm starting to hate their product because of it.
Yep.
Okay, guys. Well, back to North Korea.
North Korea.
What are the latest updates in terms of either action being taken or diplomatic measures?
I'm not getting a whole lot of stuff for that because everything's being drowned out by Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Well, as far as North Korea, related to North Korea, I know in Guam, they have started passing out pamphlets to people on what to do in case there's an attack, like a nuclear or just missiles flying.
Because an errant firework.
So it's just like duck and hit them. It's basically like the duck and cover films, but in text.
But actually, I am seeing a lot of tweets from fucking insane leftists saying North Korea is a better place to live than America.
Well, why don't you go there?
Yeah.
Because they're not
they must carry on. And it's not true communism.
Well, it just needs a chance to be able to flower and bloom properly. Oh, goodness. Okay, do we have any other topics, Mark?
I have a brief one. Okay, a couple brief ones that we can throw out for discussion. Mm-hmm. Denmark's mixed signals.
Go on.
Okay, I had a whole bunch of stuff that I closed out of today because of all this nonsense. Okay, the thing that originally I was going to use for Denmark was Denmark's launching a new program that people are mockingly called Hug a Jihadi.
Oh God.
Where it's where they want to show returning jihadis and Muslims, nothing but kindness and acceptance instead of, hatred and criminalization and ostracization. Please do it. This is the same time. But at the same time they launched this program, they ban kosher and halal meat. Same time.
Well, related to the hugs. You could say the jihadis have already been hugging Europeans with trucks of peace.
Yes, and explosive belts. Speaking of which, how do you hug somebody who's wearing an explosive belt?
Oh, also kind of speaking of Europe and Islamists, there was another rape gang found out, this time in Newcastle.
Doesn't surprise me. Where are you getting the source from?
Iconoclast. YouTuber.
Okay, can you link it in the chat, please?
I'd have to dig it up, and I'm recording, so.
Okay, never mind.
So yeah, other than that, other than Denmark sending out really mixed fucking signals,
I think one vastly overrules the other spot. The banning of kosher meat is something that occurs across Scandinavian countries anyway. But I've never heard of that with regards to halal. I think that is a very confusing signal to send out in light of the Hug a Jihadi.
The weirdness of the Hug a Jihadi thing reminds me of...
Like I said, it's not the actual thing, it's what people are mockingly calling it.
Yeah.
Well,
I have a question, though.
I'm glad it's getting mocked, because for some reason it's weird that people on the left would think of that. Well, it's not weird, but it's weird because everyone rightly mocked the whole, during the Reagan era, the Hugs Not Drugs campaign, which was so fucking stupid. Like, really? People are going to give up drugs because you hugged them? Nancy Reagan...
Didn't it win the Cold War?
Well, that they use the threat of nukes and war with, so that's a little bit more effective than hugs. I just like...
I have a question. Why... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go on. Ask your question.
Yeah.
Why did they ban halal food?
It's cruelty to animals. The way the sacrifice works, if you're going by sort of a not quite a PETA definition, but some people it doesn't sit well with how halal, and I don't know the specifics of kosher rules, but
I don't have the time it would take to go through all those details. I don't.
Yeah,
and
it's a complicated mess.
I completely disagree. I can't speak with regards to halal. But I don't know enough about it.
Well, I'm not saying that I personally think it is. It's just there are people who find it kind of
in Scandinavia that is their
So
and that is why
there's groups that argue against animal rights and it's cruel to sacrifice them in that way. I'm not really certain why we give a shit, but I mean that's the argument for it for banning it is essentially that it violates certain animal rights rules that they kind of have already on the books and are sort of an accepted value. Seems dumb to me, but all right. I mean, I guess since it hurts Muslims, I'm sort of okay with it just out of spite, but at the same time, it's really dumb to me. It's kind of one of those...
Well, I think the interesting thing about this particular measure is the backlash. What's the reaction going to be? Because I don't think even a leftist is going to be placated by a Hug a Jihadi slogan if there is a ban in effect, which is, of course, Islamophobic and thisophobic and thatophobic, and insert racist platitude here. It's the reaction that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's another one of those cases where the part of what you would call the left-wing coalition is split against itself by this, because the animal rights people, whatever externally you say about their position, within themselves they are very committed to their belief that this is harming animals, this is morally wrong, we shouldn't do this, it's barbaric and savage, and we should ban it.
They have absolutely no compunction when it comes to abortions.
Yeah, like they're fine with scrambling a baby's brains, but whatever. Let's not quibble it. Let's not think too deeply about it.
Also, don't forget about how people are saying that, the best way to solve global warming is white abortion.
Yeah. I mean, they're dumb, but within themselves, within their own internal thing, that's their point. But then you have the solidarity with Islam faction within the left that's like, no. We are best friends, linked arms with Linda Sarsour. We're going to shoot some Israelis. We're all in it together, guys. Now there's a conflict between those
Cockroaches
two groups.
don't have arms.
Well, they're feelers or whatever cockroaches do. Are there that many Turks in the left right now? I don't know.
I think Cenk is enough. I think Cenk Uygur is enough.
Well,
Of course!
Cenk is the size of several people, so
Reasonable discussion.
But, that's the sort of thing that kind of happens a lot. So I'm kind of curious how the left is going to react to that, because you have one faction, the animal rights sort of PETA vegan group, now pitted against the Muslim group. Uh-oh, how's that going to play out? Which side is higher on the progressive stack? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Here's my 2 cents on that, because it's the argument of, well, the left are going to go into civil war before they declare war on the right. And my 2 cents on that is, no, they're not, because that's how they've been able to have their coalition. They claim to have these bedrock issues, but when they contradict each other, they just say, no, fuck it, we're just ignore the problem and continue on bashing the right.
Okay, as somebody who is in the California university system, who works for it, who interacts with it all the time, I can state with absolute confidence that there is nothing more schismatic and internal fighting hatred than a bunch of left-wing groups that have gotten together that are trying to accomplish anything. It's incredible how quickly it will schism out and tear itself apart. And on some level, that's kind of what has made feminism not nearly as strong as it otherwise would be, considering its institutional support, is just the fact that it tears itself apart the minute it's left. It just is consistently in its, that phrase, they eat their own, is quite true. They tear each other apart very quickly. That's one of the reasons why they're less effective than, visually they should be, because they have all this money, they have all this institutional support.
Being a land whale doesn't help, see.
What?
Being a land whale does not help.
Well, yeah, when you're as fat as a fucking, literal building moving about, it's kind of hard to protest. That's why I like that picture. There's this fat American white feminist woman wearing a shirt that says "The struggle is real," juxtaposed to a Venezuelan protester who, by the way, is sexy as fuck. We got to do something to help those ladies. That's a country we need to really like. Venezuela's got something going on down there that I'm very invested in based on the look of that one girl. I'm like, yeah, great country. I don't know. It's probably not run very well, but some of the people look great.
Well, Trump has said that he's got a lot of options on the table to try and deal with the situation. He says even military solution is not off the table, just because it is human rights violations down there, for God's sake.
Drop in. I'd like to help some Venezuelan. Well, now my girlfriend won't let me, but.
Well, quickly grabbing my tinfoil hat relating to Trump and North Korea, I believe that Trump is starting to show Kim Jong-un that he can out-crazy him, and the kids should back off.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's any conflict thing is you want to be a little bit unpredictable, because
it's not crazy. It's just Trump is he's returning the favor, as it were. Kim Jong-un threatened to nuke Guam. Trump said, "You do that, I will bring down fire and brimstone, unlike anything you've ever seen."
And what if he's already dead and the invasion has already finished?
Okay, here's a question. If North Korea did do something that would warrant a nuclear strike, should a nuclear strike be carried out, or should cooler heads prevail and just like normal conventional warfare?
I would think a nuclear thing would be a really... I mean, unless we were struck first, And I mean struck, not like, oh, it blew up off the coast of something, you know, it made a pretty light show, or something was fired and it didn't go off. I mean, like, San Francisco or Los Angeles or San Diego, like, or especially San Diego, because that's where our naval base and naval yards are. But, like, if a major city was damaged, and even then it'd have to actually go off, which I'm sort of doubting even if they could get a warhead here, I don't even know if it would fucking detonate or not.
Assuming it was also accurate.
Yeah, like...
We're dealing with a lot of variables here.
These are people using, like, early 60s era technology badly. And
well, what was it? Remember when they were doing some of their early missile tests? They fired a missile, it blew up, and the opponents who survived were reportedly made by the Chinese. So that means one of two things: either the Chinese components blew it up because it's Chinese components, or the Chinese components survived the explosion, making them the best parts.
Yeah, like, or just, I don't know. I severely doubt that Kim Jong-un has a functional arsenal of any kind to speak of. Like, I think that thing is just as liable to fall right back where it was fired from and detonate there, if it detonates at all. Like,
Okay, let me put it like this. Nuclear strike on Guam, like directly on the land on the military base. Retaliation nuclear strike, yes or no?
Okay.
I guess we'd have to, but it would be a problem because obviously
it would depend
South Korea...
on what the target would be. If they, let's say, North Korea, instead of firing a nuke is so beyond the red line that not even China can justify defending them. No one can justify defending them. That is an end times. There will be no more North Korea after that. Just firing the damn thing.
I have bad news, gentlemen. North Korean weapons.
Who's scraping a spoon against a bowl?
Me?
Can you not?
Sorry.
We're in a podcast, bro.
Sorry. I mean, I was playing with the spoon.
Check the chat, guys. North Korean weapons confirmed.
Okay, so something else that I could bring up briefly, I suppose. This Seawall and Blop were there when I managed to find this. Very brief. There was a former tech guy that got arrested by the U.S. for trying to sell satellite spying technology to Mexican drug cartels.
What?
Interesting. Not surprised that somebody at some point would try to sell something they shouldn't have.
Any developments since then? Smart.
Well, considering it was 2 days ago, and any research I was going to do today kind of got fucked in the ass by a Dodge.
Oh.
The only other thing I have is the only other thing I really have left now is the connections between the Clintons and the DNC and the Ukrainian government.
Oh, goodness. Ukrainian collusion.
Which were former Soviet bloc and are ethnically Russian, so therefore Russian collusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't really have much else. I mean, Charlottesville really...
It sucked the air out of everything.
I mean, one thing that we can bring up is, the perpetual trampoline that has become Lacey Green.
What is she doing?
Well, according to Sci-10, she's released a new form.
We're not even going to talk about that part. But sometimes she agrees with more conservative points. Other times she just attacks all conservatives because white people.
Apparently the red pill's not holding.
Well, I'm of the opinion that she never got red-pilled.
I think she licked the red pill.
No, I think she just wanted Chris Reagan's dick.
Yeah. And that alone was enough to banish her from the monastery of feminism.
Yeah.
Or nunnery.
Anita Sarkeesian temple.
Temple of Sarkeesian.
Yes, there we go.
All right, guys. I think we're probably a little bit dry on topic. So unless you have some kick or cringe, Smart, then we should probably close up.
I could continue banging my spoon against the bowl.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay, God damn it, I did have some cack. Unfortunately, trying to watch. Twitter is drowning out everything. All right, something from Breitbart. Stafford University introduces a course on abolishing whiteness. It'll be a.
Does it involve boot polish?
It involves. Apparently it's going to be a accredited class.
Oh, the job prospects.
Okay, so Stanford University. Well, and it'll introduce a course this fall, which will task students with considering abolishing whiteness and the ultimate goal of understanding what is the future of whiteness, according to the course catalog.
I could take a wild guess and say the extinction of all white males. That's the future of whiteness.
Do people not realize that doing shit like this only makes the white identitarians more popular, more stomachable?
Well, I have a question, guys. I have a question. If you're of the opinion that genetics, science, all these things are racist concepts, they have no meaning, everything is fluid, and you want to get rid of whiteness, what happens if you're an albino?
You get chopped up by a witch doctor to make medicine.
So exactly what would have happened if you were born in one of several African countries?
If you were born albino in a lot of African countries, as I said, you're chopped up by a witch doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is an African country where there was several killings of a bald man because some witch doctors created a rumor that bald men had gold inside their skull.
Maybe they do.
Maybe that guy just really hated his bald neighbor, and he just took it way too fucking far.
Or maybe there was a sunset at the time when he got really angry with him. And the reflection from his head was just dazzling.
Sexualization of children by the left is going absolutely insane.
That is something I did not think was ever going to actually take off.
Well, considering that they're calling 4-year-old Prince George a gay icon.
What?
A 4-year-old?
That's brutal.
Why are they calling him a gay icon? What did he specifically do?
Wait, so the stereotypes, the old stereotypes of gay people being
closet
pedophiles who are going to take your children.
Okay.
This is actually giving credence to that?
Yep.
Wow.
Well,
so the whole reason why they're calling him a gay icon is because he looks happy on just before his 4th birthday. There's a picture of him looking absolutely delighted, and that's it. No, he's dressed normally. He's wearing a plaid shirt and jeans, but yeah, he's
being a regular. So he's a regular kid who's happy because he's about to have a birthday party where there's going to be cake and friends.
Hide your kids.
And because of the way he looks while looking happy, they call him a gay icon.
You know, way back when, and I personally don't really, in an objective sense, care too much about gay marriage, but I do remember specifically that was one of the things that people raised issue was won't this lead to some kind of slippery slope where, the next thing society's asked to accept is child molesters, basically.
And unfortunately, that argument becomes stronger by the day.
It's happening. It's here.
Everyone, including myself, said, that's ridiculous. That's a slippery slope.
1 year later.
And yet I have awoken some, 6 years after I had that discussion with somebody. I remember the exact discussion I had with somebody where I said, That's some ridiculous slippery slope nonsense. That's not going to happen. There's no way. That's crazy. Holy shit, I owe that guy a beer. I was wrong as fuck.
It's one of those actual ethical questions that I've okay. What if things like this, tolerating homosexuality in the culture, tolerating transgenderism,
transgenderism should never be tolerated.
All that kind of pedophilia, all that kind of weird, odd things. My question is, what if we find that actually is what leads to a death of a civilization, one of the most important factors? Do we then, and that means that everyone in the culture gets fucked over if we allow this small group basically total tolerance? Do we protect the society and not tolerate this, or do we tolerate it and let the society die? What is the ethical option here?
Well, which is why I'm straight up anti-trans. I'm not transphobic. No, I don't fear them or hate. Well, okay, I don't even hate them. I just despise them because they are forcing legal changes when they have so few people that they don't have enough people to qualify as a minority.
Any small group can be a minority.
I'm being facetious, but their global population is so small that you could fit all of them on a singular fucking island, and they'd be comfortable.
I have some cringe, I'm afraid.
Oh?
I was just going to say, I think back to did anyone else
Slightly
see
related.
the play/musical Fiddler on the Roof? Tavia, he says, you pull on a thread, and where does it lead? Maybe it's that kind of situation.
Yeah.
You know, you pull on a thread and a piece of fabric, and now the whole shtetl is messed up, and you're getting pogromed out of Russia.
That police officer
story.
called to school after 9-year-old said the word brownies. Are you serious?
Brownies
you serious?
is in delicious food, or brownies is in
Does it bloody matter?
hot Mexican girls?
Yeah.
The assumption is immediately made as to what it is.
This is the
Of course
mother's name.
with regards to
Stacy
food.
Dos Santos.
Oh,
We need a war.
Okay, seriously. Okay, so, Blop, I'm afraid Britain has become Oceania. You're currently at war with East Asia.
That's been around for quite some time. Why, do you have a particular link? Is there a specific...
Blop, I was using stuff from 1984.
I know, but is there a specific link or topic to make you say that now?
Well, the fact that all this 999 shit's going on.
Well, it's East Asia. Look what's happening across the country. And as CR just pointed out, something else in Newcastle.
Yeah.
So yes, it is Oceania.
So there was accidental layers there.
I'm afraid my PC just crashed. Could be the thought police. I'll be back short.
Wiltshire.
Yeah, we need a war to
Right,
set
in my game,
society
I
right
just
again.
genocide Wiltshire just to be safe.
Hello?
Huh?
Are we not recording anymore?
Seawall, we're still going, right?
Yes. We have another 5 minutes before we hit the hour.
Okay, well, I was gonna say on the topic of gayness being the downfall of society, I would say it's a symptom of the downfall of society. And I take that based on the Mouse Utopia experiments, where one of the symptoms of the downfall of the Mouse Utopia society was, I don't want to say gender dysphoria, because that's something else, but sexual deviancy would be a more accurate term.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know too much about that specifically, but I'd say there are even some thinkers outside of science, like even in the humanities, that have pointed out, like Camille Paglia. She's a feminist, actually, from a bygone era, long before any of us were even born.
She is Base Mom's cousin. I'm sure they are related.
Well,
they have to be related.
Base Mom, unfortunately, is an anti-Trumper, and she's tweeting a whole lot of stuff about it.
She's also from a bygone era in that respect, but. Yeah. Camille Paglia said something. She noticed that, a lot of civilizations do undergo a kind of not all of them die by a hedonistic phase. There's lots of things that bring down a society, but one of the things is they get too comfortable, fat, and hedonistic, and then something more powerful comes in and takes them over. I mean, Ibn Khaldun said that, and he was advising Arab princes, and he's like, yeah, the thing you got to watch out for is your sons are going to start fucking other dudes, and they're going to become fat, lazy, and either plowing whores or they're going to be plowing little boys. And that's when your kingdom's fucked. That's when you're going to get taken over by the guy next door. This, was back during the heyday of the Islamic period. But, he also wrote it. It sort of goes in waves like this, and there'll be if the civilization lasts that long, there'll be a really hedonistic wave, and either it'll just wither or it'll be conquered by something stronger. And I mean, if you look at Europe now, something stronger is certainly showing up.
I'm personally okay with the downfall of a society, on something fresh taking root again, something stronger. The thing is, I don't think Islam is something fresh or stronger. I think it's actually a step backwards.
Islam's been around for hundreds of years, and it has yet to reform. It's actually younger than Christianity, but more barbaric by far, and much more infantile.
That's my point.
I think your problem is you're thinking in terms of step forward and backward. As a historian, I don't think in that terms. There is just change. And the change might be, from my perspective, not very good, i.e. in Islamic Europe would not be something I'd want to exist. But in a kind of cosmic sense of things, it doesn't objectively matter too much. It's just sort of like... I say they're stronger because they have a lot more will to exist and to change the world into themselves.
I don't know. Again, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but there's some more context coming from this was just a terrible accident. There are reports apparently coming from the police saying that his car was covered in dents, almost if it was being attacked before he floored it.
Huh.
So, panicking, trying to get away.
Yeah, and just basically fucked up. So that narrative still exists. And at that point, the only people who were really left in the city that were protesting were the anti-right people.
Because, love him or hate him, Spencer basically put out the word, get out of the city.
Yeah.
After the state of emergency was declared, he pretty much sent the message out to the group, get the fuck out, we're done.
Can't they just have their little 14 words, gay little luau and peace? Come on, people. It's a literally one of the... Okay, it's not the dumbest protest I've ever seen. I've seen much dumber, and they're usually Antifa protests. But... I don't know.
Oh, shit!
What?
Guys, this might set the whole thing in a whole nother motion. Troy Soros turned 84 today.
What about that? 1984?
No. Think about it. Today's his birthday. Violent riots break out.
I love my tinfoil hattery, but come on.
Bust Antifa shows up in Charlottesville.
For the night is dark and full of terrors.
I don't know. I'm throwing this out there.
I'm back, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Saying is having
blah.
audio problems. Yep.
So apparently our Nazi friend, George Soros, turned 84 today, the same day that all this shit goes down. So I think he might have given himself a birthday present.
84 of all the years.
1984, boys.
All right, guys. I don't know if you're in the middle of any other specific topics, but we should probably get ready to close down for the day.
Yep.
Unfortunately, yeah, I can't find anything other than Charlottesville-related stuff that's worth sharing. Everything else is more. Yeah, it's. Yeah, everything else I have is not really related to anything whatsoever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, guys. So, Smart, do you wanna close this off then?
Yeah, it's that time anyway. Well, folks, this has been a little bit more disorganized than usual. Normally we have a little bit more of structure, but as is the case with all these kinds of events, structure gets thrown out the window. So in this deplorable state of emergency, we deplorables have to act accordingly. So, with that in mind, I shall invite the members of our panel to offer their final thoughts. Steph?
We need a war, me more now.
Blap?
It's the charge of the Dodge Brigade.
See you all?
Let's hope more information comes out soon before there is there's another escalation.
True. And C.
Dodge. Leave the weak in the dust.
Oh.
Or make the weak the dust.
Oh my god. True.
Going
to hell. Anyway.
Well, my final thoughts. First off, on the driver of the Dodge, strike. Second, you forget, Seawall. I have very little value on human life. And second off, this was coming. This has been a long time coming. With all the blame white people for everything, blame men for everything. White people are racist. This has been coming. Everybody who was paying attention saw this coming miles away. So this was inevitable. So now that it's happened, all I can say is, well, we warned you. We warned you for years. You didn't listen. Reap what you sow. And on that depressing note, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you fondue. Please like and subscribe if you feel half inclined to put forth any modicum of effort. And we're going to try to get this a little bit more regular from now on. These 1 month things just happen, differing schedules. So, to all my fellow deplorables of the internet, free Kekistan and Chatelet, my folks.
Chatelet.
Ree.